Hello and welcome to Call to Camera, those programmes in which we look at the art that you've got on your walls that have become particularly close to you in isolation. This week, it's modernism. This could be described as modernism in the broader sense of the word. We bought it at the Chipping Norton Antique Centre locally, a rather happy hunting ground. It cost £40. The artist's name is Harrison. I've no idea who Harrison is, but the point is that this painting could only have been done, really, in the 20th century. The starting gun was sounded in the late 19th century with the Impressionists. Suddenly art was less about the literal conveyance of information in front of you. It was more to do with feeling. It was the unseen rather than necessarily the seen. And then in the 20th century, there was a constant mortar attack of innovation with new ideas, new expressions of artistic feeling. In the vanguard was Pablo Picasso, who was constantly inventive. And throughout the 20th century, or certainly the first of two-thirds, he dominates it with his phenomenal ideas and different approaches. Now, when it comes to art in isolation, you too like a little bit of abstract. You like things that you can recognize, but you also appreciate the fact that with a bit of artistic tinkling, new thoughts and ideas can come forward. If you've watched my earlier films of art in isolation, you'll recall possibly seeing this picture by Roger Wagner. The whole point about modernism and the freedom of art in the 20th century was that you could approach subject matter in entirely different ways. Probably the most influential movement in that respect was surrealism, the works of Giorgio de Chirico, particularly in the early part of the 20th century. And what they did was they brought the dream world into the real world. There was a fusion and a breaking down of the boundaries. This is a very broad category, but have a look at these, because it's subject matter that you can recognize, but there is a playfulness, an inventiveness, which is, if you want, the license of 20th century modernism. But for some of you, and indeed for some artists in the 20th century, the representation of recognizable things was an annoyance. It was all about mood, about cutting through to the emotions. I suppose the most prominent, or amongst the most prominent artists, were the abstract expressionists, particularly in America, people like Jackson Pollock. You know, gone is any sense of a recognized literal portrayal. It's all about pattern and design. And in isolation, I can't help feeling that a lot of you are drawn to images that are portals. They are some way out, because they don't confront you with anything that you need to grapple with. They just lift you, they take you, they absorb you. This is abstract expressionist art, or extreme abstraction. So there we are, another insight into the type of art, the more modernist art that we live with in isolation, or some of us have got solace from. We've greatly enjoyed making these programs. I'm afraid processing the photographs takes an awfully long time, which is why they would be quicker, but Oliver and I are working on it. So in the meantime, wherever you are, take care. Thank you for watching.